Hello, my name is Nikki, and I'm so glad that you decided to watch this video. I was sitting here realizing I didn't have any plans for this Friday night, and I started watching YouTube, as one does. And I watched one of my favorite booktubers talk about, she tier ranked all the books that she read this year. I thought it would be fun to do the same. And so I decided that I'm going to get my thoughts out about the books I read this year, because I had one of the greatest reading years of my entire life. I read 80 books this year and whole different combination of genres, and it was incredibly fun. And I have a lot of thoughts on some of these books, and so I thought it'd be fun to tier rank them, talk about them, and give you my thoughts about whether they're worth your time or not. Obviously, it is your decision if you want to read a book. I don't care. But these are the books that I read this year that graced a really great year for me. So we're going to tier rank them, which I think is going to be so much fun. And these are in no particular order as well. Also, sorry about all the ads. I don't know how to get rid of them while I'm sharing my screen, but whatever. I'm going to walk you through the different levels that I have here. So the first level, we're going to go down to the top, bottom to the top. And the first level I have here is Rowan wouldn't eat this crab. I have a dog named Rowan. He's phenomenal. I love him so much. If you haven't had the pleasure of meeting him, I'm sorry, because he will make your life better. He is so cute. He's being annoying right now because he's whining about something. I think he rolled his ball underneath the bed. But one of his few flaws is that he likes to eat poop. He loves eating dog poop. Well, that's the only poop that he eats, but he eats his own poop, he eats other dogs' poop. So he loves it. So this is the worst of the worst. I did not like these books. Disappointed that I wasted my time on them. Even Ron wouldn't eat this crab. The next tier up is I'm Sorry This Man, which is in reference to the Keke Palmer video where she's looking at a video or a picture of this man, and she says, I don't know who this man is. This man could be walking down the street and I wouldn't know a thing. I'm sorry, this man. And these are books that like I just forgot. I don't know really what happened in them. I read them. When you read 80 books, I never thought I was going to be the person who would forget stuff about books, but when you read 80 books, and also a lot of my books too, I listened to on audiobook. So I guess I could say I completed books because people get weird about when I say I read books and it was an audiobook, but whatever, I count it as reading. And so I listened to them at really fast speeds, and sometimes you forget things. And I really think there's going to be a lot in this one because I was going through making my little pictures and I realized that there are so many books on here that I couldn't tell you a thing about. So that's that category. Beige is the next category. This is the good category. You know what? Beige, not great, not the best color, not the worst color, but it was okay. So this is my okay category. It's fun while I had it, but I don't need it. And it was okay. Good, not great, bad, not the worst. Next category is iced chai with oat milk. If you know anything about me, this is my favorite order to get at any coffee shop. I love iced chais. They're great. I think they're phenomenal drinks. I will drink them all the day long. So this is my great category. And then my top category is Had Me in a Chokehold. These books are phenomenal. These are my favorite books of the year. These are some of my favorite books that I have ever read. And I just couldn't stop thinking about them. So those are my categories. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Oh, also a note about some things. I actually have read, so you're not going to see 80 books on here because there's some books I didn't want to put on here just because, like, I don't know, I kind of was doing this before and found that it was hard to rank books that are like personal development books, and I read several of those this year. So I didn't put those on there. I also like finished the Bible this year. Love the Bible. It would be in the top tier, but like it feels like it needs its own tier because it's the Bible. So like didn't put that in here. I also read a couple of these books 2 times. Like I read the whole Harry Potter series almost twice through this year. So obviously I was putting those on here once. So there's not gonna be 80 books if you're confused about that. Let's go ahead and jump right in. I started to order these in the order that I read them this year, but that was taking too long. So I decided to give up on that around this area. So first is at the end of last year, I started reading the Heartstopper graphic novels, which was really fun. I love graphic novels. So basically they're like comics, if anybody wants to know. They're really good. The third one, I think I remember liking this one a lot. I'm gonna put this in iced chai with oat milk. I think it was good. All right, the next one is A Torch Against the Night, which is the second book in the Ember and the Ashes series. If the first book, Ember and the Ashes of this series was in here, this would be almost top tier because it's so good. I loved it so much. I think this is a phenomenal series overall. I unfortunately can't remember a thing. Cannot remember a thing about this book. And this was hard because when I'm reading books, I usually remember them better. And for these ones, I read them and listened to them at the same time, which was a really fun experience. But like, I don't know anything that happened in this book. I could tell you about the first book, but not this one. So I'm sorry, this man. If I remembered it, I know that my experience of reading this book was like up in here. But like looking back on it now, couldn't tell you a thing. Heartstopper Volume 4. I think that I don't know. I don't really remember much about these either. I remember liking them. I read them so close together that it really kind of just is like the same in my mind. So I'm just gonna put that one next to that one. Also, I will be ranking in the rows too. So the top one of the row is like the best one in that row. It could almost be the next row, just so you know. All right, Love Light Farms. This book was fun. This is a romance book. And it's a book about like a fake dating, I think. It's a Christmas themed one. I read this at the start of last year. I think it was okay. I'm gonna put it in beige. Nick and Charlie is a novella to the Heartstopper series. I kind of remember a little bit about this. I think that it needs to stay as the Heartstopper needs to stay as a graphic novel because I think that's part of the appeal. I think is really good. I don't really know if I could tell you much about it. It was just like 120 pages. It was really quick. I listened to it while I was on a car ride. I think I liked part of it. I'm putting this. I'm sorry, this man. Crying in H Mart. This is an incredible memoir that I absolutely loved and actually do remember. This is about a Korean American talking about her experience growing up with her mom and their somewhat tumultuous relationship, but also her dealing with the relationship as her mom is dying and going through life. It was so good, really, really good. I'm putting this at the top of iced chai with oat milk. I thought it was phenomenal. I think everybody should read it. I'm not putting it up here. It had me in chokehold because I just enjoyed my time reading it. One memoir that would be and had me in a chokehold would be I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. That book is phenomenal. I love that book so much. They're very similar. This one's really good. I also do want to say too that this book has a lot of conversations about food and like that was part of what made it so good because all this food sounded so amazing. All right, A Reaper at the Gates. For some reason in my head, I remember liking this one a little bit more than I liked Torch Against the Night, but still don't remember anything about it. I remember one part of this that was kind of crazy, but I remember my experience being like really exciting as I was reading it, but like I couldn't tell a single person about what this book is about. I'm sorry, this man. But for some reason I remember liking it a little bit better. Maybe it's just because I remember it a little bit more. Who knows? I do remember this girl's name is Helene, and she's a queen. I love her. From Blood and Ash, this is I guess I should talk about like what the books are about. These books I could tell you the Ember and Ash series as a whole is well, here I am. I couldn't even tell you. Ember and Ashes, the first one I really liked because it's kind of set in the academy, which is cool, and it's about this empire, and there's this resistance that's trying to take it down. And so they send this spy in, and she's trying to work on the inside. And then there's also this other character who's a guy, and they kind of like cross paths. But he's one of the top people in the academy, but he doesn't want to be there. But his mom is like the high commander. Very good. First book is really good. Wish I remember the other ones. There's like a competition in it, but it's good. All right, From Blood and Ash. This book had a chokehold on society maybe last year, 2 years ago, and I finally got around to reading it with my real life book club, and it had a chokehold on them too. I was kind of very okay with it. I thought that it was fun for what it was. I kind of remember about it, but also like I don't remember a ton. It didn't really stick out that much. I remember one thing. It's kind of like a medieval gods, but like demigods and then like vampires and werewolves somehow too. And there's a lot happening in this book. I'm going to put this in beige because it was okay. I think there's other better books out there. But people really like it, so maybe you can give it a try. All right, Every Summer After. This book, Right to Have Me in a Chokehold. I love this book so much. This is about this is a romance story about these two childhood best friends who have a falling out, and then they reconnect several years later. And it's about them trying to figure out their differences, and it's just so good. It's almost the exact same story as Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren, which is one of my favorite books. And you would think that I'd be upset that it's so similar, but like it just feels like more of the same book that I already loved. So that was really good. So would really recommend it. I think it's amazing. All right. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This book, I'm sorry, it's going in Run Wouldn't Eat This Crap. This book is so popular. It's one of my really good friends, her name's Sarah. Hi, Sarah, if you're watching this. This is one of her favorite books. And I wanted to read it because she loved it so much. And also people were singing its praises. I hated it. Thought it was so boring. Where was the plot? It wasn't in this book, I can tell you that. It's very atmospheric. It's an atmospheric book about this circus that comes to town. You don't know when it's coming, but it pops up randomly and is only open at night. And there's like this magical competition. It's very character focused, but like not plot heavy. And I love a plot heavy book. So I didn't like this one. I know other people love it, but I didn't. So that's my thoughts on it. All right, Daisy Jones and the Six. This is going right to the top of Iced Chai with Oat Milk. This book was phenomenal. I listened to this as an audiobook, and the audiobook was so cool. It was a full cast, basically. Kind of think of it as Fleetwood Mac if they like wrote a memoir together, and like somebody interviewed them and like just gave you the interviews, basically. This is what that was. I loved it so much. It was so good, so fun. I read it so quickly. And talking about their experience, how they became a band and how they fell apart. So good. If you're going to read this book, listen to it as an audiobook. No questions asked. Get it from the library as an audiobook. It was so phenomenal. I loved it so much. The TV show, however, really fumbled. Sam Claflin tried his best. And so, what is the main girl's name? I don't know. They did good, but like it just messed up the story. I feel like it didn't translate well. All right. This one, I need to find the first one in the series because it's somewhere down here and I want to talk about it first because there it is. Okay, so one of the book series that I really loved this year was the Bromance Book Club. I'm putting this at the top of Have Me in a Chokehold. It was so fun. I loved this book so much. It had such a good concept. It's about this guy. I think he's a famous baseball player. And he's having marriage problems, and his friends confess to him, like his baseball player friends confess to him that they have this book club where they read romance books, and then they take the experiences that they learn from those romance books and apply it to like their own relationships with their significant others to like save them, basically. And it was so good. It sounds like a really weird concept, but it was actually so fun. The main character, I loved him. I also loved getting a romance book from the perspective of the man, which I don't feel like you get a lot, which was really fun. Also, the audiobook narrator for this was phenomenal. I loved him so much. It was so good. I just had an amazing time reading this book. And also, it took like excerpts from this fake romance book that they're reading and like integrated them into the story. It was so good. I loved it. And I immediately went on to the rest of the book series to read it. Not as good. I think mostly why they're not as good is because they kind of failed to do the same thing where they did excerpts from the book that the club is reading. And so I don't know, it just wasn't as good as the first one, but the first one I loved so much and ran to the other books, which I'm going to do the second one now because we're kind of talking about it. The second one is Undercover Bromance. I did like this one a little bit more than I liked the third one. I'm going to put this somewhere in Iced Chai Latte. I think I'm going to put this before Heartstopper. Yeah, I'm going to put it there. Then Crazy Stupid Bromance is the other one. I don't remember a lot about this one, but I remember enough, and I'm putting this at the end of Beige. It was okay. All right, The Deal by Elle Kennedy is a hockey romance in a series, very beloved on Book Talk. It was really fun. I read it. This is one of the few books that I read without audiobook. Like I just physically read the book, and I had a great time doing it. It was very fun. I think I'm gonna put this at the top of Ice Chai. All right. This series, immediately going to Rowan Wouldn't Eat That Crap. This is a series of novellas. Don't let any people tell you that their books are like 100 pages each. And it's about this FBI agent who starts dating this girl. And while he's like trying to find the serial killer, turns out she's a serial killer that he's following. It's a Wattpad fiction. I mean, it's not actually, it might be, I have no idea, but it reads like that. And it's so like, it's so unnecessary, like graphic, and I don't know. People really love it. I'm gonna put it before the Night Circus because I really don't like the Night Circus. All right, the next one. That's my thoughts on this series, the Mind F series, but read it if you want to. I don't care. I don't think I'm gonna continue on. I can't get through it because it's so cringy to me. All right, Like You Love Me. This is a fake marriage romance book. I had a great time with this. I really loved it. I remember listening to it as I was working at the food truck. It was very, very fun. I'm going to put this one here. I liked it a lot. How to Fake in Hollywood. Could not tell you a single thing about this book. This is going to the top of this one though, because now I couldn't remember anything, but one thing I do remember is one quote that came from it that was so good. It wrecked my world as I was listening to it. And it said, it was this guy, he kind of was acting kind of crappy. He was kind of a jerk to the main character at one point, but he was going through some trauma. He was going through some stuff. And he came back and was like apologizing to her about some things. And he was like, he said this quote, this is kind of spoilery, so you can mute it if you want to. But he said, I'm sorry for this. And he's like, wait, I've been talking to my counselor about stopping apologizing because I was doing the best with the pain that I had. Hello? 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 Who gave a romance book the right to hit me with that type of therapeutic language? So good. So that's getting to the top of, I'm sorry, this man, I couldn't tell you a single thing about the rest. They have, it's like a fake dating one. I'm remembering more about it now, actually, that I'm thinking about it. The fake dating, we're putting this, yes, I am remembering more about this. Okay, maybe I just need to like talk about it. We're putting this at the top of beige. I liked it. It was good. Should we put it Ice Chai with oat milk? I think I might be getting carried away with that quote. I'm putting this at the top of beige. All right. Next one is The Hunger Games. So for those of you that don't know, the movie The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came out this year, which is a prequel to the Hunger Games series. I hated that book. I read it like 2 years ago, I think. And it's just so good. And so as it was preparing for it to come out, I started watching the movies again, decided to reread the books. I only ended up reading the first book because I had so many other books I was trying to get through. But The Hunger Games, guys, had me in a chokehold this year solely because this new movie, I loved the new movie, by the way. It was so much better than the book. I thought they did it really well. It was really long, but I really liked it and thought it was so good. But The Hunger Games will always have me in a chokehold. No questions asked, and putting it there. It was amazing. Speaking of another thing that had me in a chokehold, 100% this graphic novel series, which is called Saga. This graphic novel series is so phenomenal. So good. It's about these two different alien races that have been at war for a really long time. And their two planets have been at war for a really long time. It's about these two people who are part of these different races and they fall in love, kind of like a Romeo and Juliet. And they're on the run. Everybody's trying to look for them because they're really mad. They have a kid together, and the whole series is told from the perspective of this kid. And it's just so good, so heartwarming. There's 10 volumes in it, so that's 10 of the 80 books that I read. And it's just like, but I didn't want to put them on here because I read them all so quickly in a row that it took me forever. it took me so quick to get through them, but I couldn't differentiate them because they all feel like the same story to me. There are two that stand out. There's one that stands out. My favorite one was by far Volume 9 was so good. The whole series is sad, happy, makes you laugh. It's so fun. But Volume 9 did something really crazy that like some people are not going to be happy about, but I really respected that the author went that direction. But I thought it really propelled the story forward. Hated story 10 and hated story 4. So I thought it was overall good though. And my summer was defined by this, me reading this, because I literally was reading it every chance I got. I couldn't put it down. It was so good. All right, we're going to save Harry Potter for a little bit. This one, Life Undercover, is a memoir about somebody who was in the CIA. I went through a period where I was really obsessed with learning about the CIA. I watched a Netflix series called The Night Agent, which had to do with the CIA, and I just really wanted to consume anything I could about the CIA. Let's see how many times I can say the word CIA. And this is about this girl named Amaryllis Fox, and she wrote a memoir about her time in the CIA. She doesn't go into super depth about a lot of stuff. She goes into more depth than I probably knew beforehand about process of training for the CIA and everything, but like she can't obviously share a lot. But it was really fun. So I'm going to put this in iced chai with oat milk. I'm going to put this here. No. I'm going to put this here. Yeah, I thought it was fun. Give it a read. It's a good memoir. Shit, this book sucked. I hated this book. Rowan wouldn't eat that crap. It was just boring. I think the characters were annoying. People were like, this is good if you like the hating game. I love the hating game. This book is not the hating game. Not good. And we're gonna wait for Percy Jackson too, because I read that whole series as well. All right, Challenge is a soccer player romance. So the whole book series is called the Harris Brothers series, and it's about these 4 or 5 brothers who all play soccer in England, and it's about like a romance for each of them. Challenge is a romance between this guy who gets injured and his doctor as they kind of fall in love. This was my first Kindle Unlimited book I've ever read. It was really fun. I think I had a good time reading it. It was okay. Challenge was really good. I'm gonna put this one. I did have a fun time reading this. This was, I don't know if I put it in like great though. I would. Yeah, I will. Endurance, I liked a little bit more than the first one. I'm putting that there. That was fun. This was Enemies to Lovers and Fake Dating. Loved. It was very, very good. On Honeymooners, Rowan wouldn't eat that crap. This book, I get angry when I think about this book because of how bad it is. People love this book. They're like, it's Christina Lauren's best book. No, it isn't. Have you read Love in Other Words? Have you read The Soulmate Equation? This is not their best book. This book, it's so bad. The plot doesn't make sense. The main character makes such dumb decisions. The central conflict, the third act conflict towards the end, doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why it would happen that way. I literally called my friend Sarah, and she also doesn't like this book, and we just complained about it because we thought it was so bad. It was not good, didn't like it, won't be reading it again. Wish I would have DNF'd it. I didn't like it. All right, Icebreaker. This is a hockey college romance. So good. It was really fun. I actually really, really liked it. Apparently, I really like hockey romance because those are like at the top of my list. This is a hockey and a figure skater who fell in love. This one was really, really fun. I'm going to put this here. Yeah, not much to say about it other than I really, really liked it. Cinder. This was one of the last books I read of the year. This was a reread for me, and this one was actually really fun. This is a retelling of Cinderella, but she's a cyborg. I don't really like retellings, but this one's really fun. I'm apparently talking about Sarah a lot in this video, but she convinced me to read it again, and it's fun. I liked it. I read it really quick, and I'm excited to continue on with this series. I'm gonna put this here. I really like Cinder. It was really, really good. True Love Experiment. Rowan wouldn't eat that crap. People really like this book too. Here's the thing is I could put this in I'm Sorry to This Man because I really couldn't really tell you that much about this book. But like, for some reason, every time I think about this book, all I can think about is how much I hated it. Literally, that's all I can think about. I think my brain like blocked it out. It, yeah, it's just, I didn't like it. I think it's about like a TV show that they do. It's set in the same world as Soulmate Equation. Love the Soulmate Equation, not this book. So Rowan wouldn't eat that crap. I have more shot like viscerally, like I like have visceral reactions when I think about this book because I remember hating it so much. I don't know why. If you like this book, I'm sorry. All right, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This book is phenomenal. I love this book so much. The book had a chokehold on me. I was telling everybody to read it. I think it's so good. It's like cozy and kind of magic-y, but like not super. It's not like the main focus of it. It has such a cute romance. So good. And I think that's a good spot for it there. I loved it. All right, Practice Makes Perfect. This book was so cute. I love this book. I think I'm putting this at the top here. This is a romance, and what I really liked about this romance actually is that it was pretty tame. Like it was really like clean romance. It was just like it was really good, and like I really like the characters. It's about this bodyguard who falls in love with this girl who owns a flower shop, and I finished this in less than 12 hours. I mean, it was an audiobook, but it was really good. So I had a lot of fun reading that. All Your Twisted Secrets. This book, I read this also for my in real life book club, and where should I put it? Where should I put this? I'm trying to remember. I remember being frustrated with the ending, but I think I'm gonna put it at the back of beige. It's about these 5 students who go into a room and like they're locked in there and they're trying to figure out they have to like perform all these tasks or something. Kind of, I don't know. I'm giving a horrible synopsis of this. I'm putting it there. Look it up for yourself. All right. Next one is The Roommate. This is a close proximity romance about these 2 people who move in together and and they fall in love. I had fun reading this one. It was too much though. Like there was too much. Yeah, I didn't. I'm gonna put this one. I'm gonna put it here. Well, no, I liked it more than that. This feels right. But again, it was too much. I wish that it would have toned back on the explicit nature of it a little bit. Let's see. Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. This one was a really cute. I read this in the fall. It was a perfect fall read. It's about this girl who is a witch and she's not allowed to tell people she's a witch, and she goes to tutor these 3 other witches. It was really fun. I was like kind of okay with about it. People were like obsessing over it, and I just like didn't really see the point. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I'm gonna put it at the top. I'm gonna put it here. It was fine. Okay. All Systems Red. This was a kind of a novella. I'm sorry, this man. I remember a little bit more about it than I remember about Nick and Charlie, but like I didn't even rate this on Goodreads because I felt bad about giving a rating when I didn't even remember what happened. This was at the time when I was also reading Saga, and all my attention was being focused there. So this one, it's just don't remember enough about it to really give it a good rating. So sorry, guy. Red Rising. This one, I wish I had a disappointing category because this book was hyped up so much. Everybody's like, Darrow is the new Katniss. It's about, it's a sci-fi book about this guy who lives on Mars, and it's about a class-based system, and every person is given a color, and he's a red, which is the lowest of the low, and he basically after an event starts working for the resistance to try and overthrow the other colors. And then he goes to this school. Such an interesting concept. Main character was so bland, who's literally a wet blanket. I found the school setting to be really interesting and kind of weird. I didn't love it. I was really disappointed because people like really hyped up so much. People are saying that this is their favorite series of all time. I think I'm going to continue on with it, but I was really disappointed. But I did enjoy part of it, and so I'm going to put it at the top of beige. I was very okay with it. All right, The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. This book, here's the thing, I don't love mysteries. Mysteries really need to like hook my attention and keep me guessing the whole time. This one didn't. It was just like I don't know. I tried reading it so much. It's one of my really good friends, Kate. It's one of her favorite book series, and I really wanted to read it to talk to her about it. And I wish I would have liked it more, but I didn't. I did finish it for the first time because I've tried reading it so many times. I listened to it at a slower speed so I could really get it. I called it from the beginning who it was, like literally from the first time I met the character. And I was like, it's him. And I told my friend Kate, I was like, I know it's him. And I was right. And, or them, I shouldn't say. If you haven't read this at this point, I think all the suspects are male, but whatever. Anyway, it was just okay. I didn't love it. The ending was really good. I really liked the ending. It got really intense. But I just wanted more. So I'm gonna put this in beige after Red Rising. All right. The most popular book of the year, Fourth Wing. Oh, this book. People loved it. People hated it. There was no in between except for me. Very middle of the road on this book. I think it had potential, but like there's so many classic tropes that are in here that it didn't provide anything new to the genre. And it was fun, but also like no substance there. It was okay. I'm gonna put this at the top of beige. I don't really care about this book. I don't think I'm gonna read the second one because I didn't care enough. But some people really liked it. So all right, Something Wilder. This is another Christina Lauren book. This is about, I love this one because it's set in Wyoming, which I love Wyoming. But Something Wilder it was a very okay romance. It was about these people who like reconnect after a while, and she's a wilderness guide, which is cool. And then it got this weird like side story. I don't know, I was pretty okay with it. I'm gonna put this one here. Sure, that feels right. All right. The Inheritance Games. This is also one of the other books that I read completely without any audiobook, which I really liked this book. I thought it was really, really good. I had a really fun time reading it. It was very fast paced, kept me guessing. I love the characters. I'm going to put this here. That feels right. It's about this girl who inherits the fortune of this man, but he sends her, he's never met her before, or she's never met him before, and he sends her on all of these like quests or like challenges that she has to complete. It's very, very fun. I really enjoy it. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Now, this is a fun mystery. I don't remember a ton about it, but I do remember enjoying it. I thought it was fun, and kept my attention, and it was good. I'm gonna put it somewhere in iced chai with oat milk. I think I'm gonna put this here. That feels right. I keep saying that. All right, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. This was book of the month's book of the year last year. And it's about, people are always like, it's so hard to describe. I'm gonna describe it to you right now. About these two childhood best friends who grow up together, and they end up making a video game together that was really popular, and it's about different parts of their lives as they go through that time and fall apart, come back together, blah, blah, blah. It was fine. People love this book. I don't think it's as amazing as people think. It feels like what's her name? Taylor Jenkins Reid. She wrote Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. She wrote Malibu Rising. Loved those books. This felt like any of her books. Like I would have thought it was her. It was kind of a comfy, had some good callbacks to different like video gaming stuff. I think this was a little bit better than those books, but I felt very okay with it. I would have been fine if I wouldn't have read it. Talking as Fast as I Can. This was an amazing memoir from Lauren Graham, who stars in Gilmore Girls, talking about her life. It was so good, so interesting. I read this in like 2 hours. I mean, I listened to it at a fast speed on audiobook. It was very, very fun. I had me in a chokehold. I still think about it. I love memoirs, especially from celebrities. All right. I think, are all the Harry Potter books there? Can we do Harry Potter now? Okay, let's do Harry Potter. All right. So one of my favorite parts of this year was the fact that I reread the Harry Potter, or re-listened to Jim Dale. He does the audiobook narration. He's phenomenal, so good. Harry Potter, this was my Harry Potter year. I read through the whole book series almost twice. I think I'm finished the sixth book at the very start of the year. So did it almost twice. I started it in mid-year, and I was talking to my friend about how much fun I had rereading it. I was like, I think I want to do it again, but like, I feel like I need to give it some time. She was like, life's too short to not read what you want. Like, do it again. Caitlin, if you're out there watching this, thank you for the advice. It was so fun. I'm so glad that I read them again. We're gonna rank them though. These all had me in chokehold. Harry Potter, hands down, favorite book series of all time. So phenomenal. If you don't know what it is, stop living under a rock, figure it out. Start with the first one. So we're putting this, obviously, like I said, we're putting these all in How to Be in a Chokehold. Sorcerer's Stone, such a classic. I loved it. I love it so much. It's also the movie I've seen most of my life, close to 400 times. I watched it every day for a year when I was a kid. But the book is just such a good introduction into the world. It's so fun. Chamber of Secrets, not quite. These two are very similar to me, not quite as fun. I mean, it is fun. It's good. I do like it, but this one just is so nostalgic. So I'm putting that there. None of them are bad. None of them are bad. All right. Prisoner of Azkaban. Love. Obsessed with this book. The Marauders, I think it's so interesting. Hermione's chapter, Hermione's Secret. Most fun sequence in the movies and also in the books. I just think it's so good. All right, Order of the Phoenix. We're doing it in order. Goblet of Fire. This book is so fun with the Triwizard Tournament. It's also a really big turning point in the series, both in length of book and also in tone, because this is when Voldemort comes back and you just really you just see where the series is going, and it's really good. I really love it. It's just so fun. I love the characters in it, and it's good. Order of the Phoenix. I came to a new appreciation for this book this year, because I usually hate it because Harry's just so depressed in this book all the time, and it's so annoying to read that. But I mean, when you really think about it, this is how a 15-year-old boy would react if he's depressed and nobody believes him about something that he's had happened. And I think that that's something important to uncover. I think J.K. Rowling does a great job of that. It's really long, but I think it's really good. And I really enjoy it. I also really enjoy the characters. Dumbledore's army, so fun. I'm still putting it back here, but like, I just wanted to say I had a new appreciation for it this time around. Both times I read it, I really loved it. All right, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This book is so good. I think this is my favorite Harry Potter book. I don't know. I love the seventh one too. But Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is just like, it feels very low stakes. It's very high stakes. But I think Dumbledore is such a good character, and he is so whimsical, and he's in this book so much that you really just get a lot of his lighthearted nature in there. And I just love that. Also, they're all starting in relationships, and that's just really fun. So I love the sixth one. I think as I've thought about it, as I'm thinking about it now, I think I'm going to put, for this year, so doesn't necessarily mean that it's my favorite one of all time, but I'm going to put this one at the top. Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows. There's just so much richness in this book. No, I'm putting the second one because I love Half-Blood Prince so much because of all the flashbacks from Voldemort. But Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows is phenomenal. It's a very tight race between those three. It's so good. And every time I read it, I was just talking about this with my friend Kate, and we were just like, is J.K. Rowling literally a theologian? There's so many biblical themes in that last book that's so good. I love it. I love it so much. It's so good. All right. Now I talked about Harry Potter, so I'm glad that we got to those. We're going to go ahead and do Percy Jackson, because I also read this year in anticipation. This is my second read through of Percy Jackson. I read the whole series again in anticipation of the new series that's coming out. The Lightning Thief, I think, is by far my favorite book of the Percy Jackson series. I'm not leaving it here. I just wanted to bring it up. The Percy Jackson series, I don't love it. It's okay. I think it's fun. I love the first one. The first one is so, so fun. And the second one, I really like the second. Maybe I like it more than I think. But I don't think the later ones are as strong. People love it, and I think that some of that's tied up in nostalgia. Probably the same thing for me with Harry Potter. But I think that it's not as good as I remember it being the first time that I read it, after as I read it a second time. And I also had just finished Harry Potter, and I was kind of trying to chase that high that I had again of like childhood nostalgia, reading a book again. And this just didn't follow up. So I think that that was hard. So it was a hard year for the Lightning for Percy Jackson, but I do love them. They're so freaking funny. They're so, so funny. I'm going to put The Lightning Thief. I'm going to put it. Yeah, that feels right. Lightning Thief there. I'm going to put The Sea of Monsters right behind it. Titan's Curse. I hate this book. No, I don't hate it. I just hate one of the characters in it because it's the one with the Artemis's huntresses, whatever. And one of them is so annoying. And so I'm actually going to put this at the bottom of the page because she annoys me so much. Where's the next one? Okay, Battle of the Labyrinth. I actually really like this one. The Labyrinth is very cool. But like I don't remember a ton about it. It's just kind of like flows together. And I actually am gonna put this because it really kind of feels weak to me. I feel the same about The Last Olympian too. People, they just, I don't know, like the ending just kind of came out of nowhere for me. It feels very rushed. They're not very long. I'm sorry if you love Percy Jackson, but it's just not my favorite. I think it's fun, but like it's not my favorite thing in the world. So, but I did like it more. I do. I'm keeping this one here because I hate the character. But I did like it more than some of these books. So I'm going to move it up here, and I'm going to move this one up here. Yeah, that feels good. All right, what's next? This time next year. This book was so good. So good. The audiobook narrator was so good. It came at the perfect time that I needed it, and I was obsessed with it. This one had me in a chokehold and had me in a strong chokehold. Strong chokehold. When I read it. It was so fun. And also, yeah, I'm over there. Lore Olympus. This is another graphic novel that I read that my friend Sarah loves. And I read it because she loved it. I love Saga. And I think I was going into this thinking that it was going to be similar to Saga. It's not. I thought it was kind of boring. But here we are. I'm putting this. I'm going to put it in beige. That feels right. All right, Caraval. We're almost near the end. Caraval was a fun book. It was a YA book. I read it because I really want to read Once Upon a Broken Heart, which is a spin-off series of this. I don't think you need to read it first, but I kind of feel like I needed to. And so it was okay. I had a fun time reading it. I'm going to put this. I liked it more. Yeah, I'm gonna put it at the top of beige. I think it was fun. It was good. You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. Rowan would not eat this crap. This book, I don't hate it as much as I hate the True Love Experiment or the Honeymooners. Definitely hated shipped. That feels right. This book, it was so bad. It was so bad. And the more I sit with it, the more I realize how bad it was. The ending, it was an insult. The ending was an insult to the reader, made you second guess everything. I thought it was dumb. It just like, it's about this girl who goes to Wyoming for a vacation. She has this Airbnb, some weird things are happening, and the ending is crazy. If you want to talk about it, let me know. Royally Matched, I couldn't really tell you a thing about it. I remember a little bit more than the other books. I'm sorry to this man. It's a romance book about this prince, I think, who goes on a television show to find a wife. That's all I remember about it. So that's where it is. All right, Leviathan Wakes is the first book in the Expanse series. I read this because two of my friends really like this series. I felt okay about it. I think I got a little lost in it because I was listening to it as an audiobook, and I think I really need to read it as a physical copy. And I just think, I don't know, it was fun. I liked parts of it. I listened to part of it with my dad, which was really cool. I'm gonna put this I'm gonna put it here. Yep. Pumpkinheads. This is a graphic novel, fall themed graphic novel about these two kids or two teenagers who work at a pumpkin patch and the shenanigans that happen there. I read this every fall. I love it so much. I'm putting this in Had Me in a Chokehold because it consistently has me in a chokehold. I'm gonna put it here. My last book, we've made it through The Will of the Many, and this is a fitting one to end on because I loved it so much. It's also another book that I read completely without any audiobook intervention, and I am putting it, I'm going to put it there. Had Me in a Chokehold. It's a phenomenal fantasy book about this society called the Hierarchy, and this guy who lives in it, and he's kind of undercover. He goes to this academy to basically work for this resistance. People are really trying to use him. The magic system in this book is so cool. Utilizes the will of people. So like when I try to will myself to get to the top of that mountain. People are using that drive and harnessing it and using it for their own power. So I thought that was a really interesting concept. It was so good. It also is becoming really popular, but I feel like I read it a little bit before it got really popular. And so I kind of feel excited about that because I listened to one of my favorite booktubers and she was like, everybody run to this book right now. It's so good. And I'm glad I listened to her because it is actually really, really good. So loved it. I think it's phenomenal. Please go read it. All right, here is the ending of my tier ranking. I'm going to read through Had Me in a Chokehold, Divine Rivals, Pumpkinheads, Every Summer After, The Bromance Book Club. This time next year, Talking as Fast as I Can, The Hunger Games, The Will of the Many, Saga, and then the whole Harry Potter series, Chamber of Secrets, Sorcerer's Stone, Order of Phoenix, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Deathly Hallows, Half-Blood Prince. If I were to take Harry Potter out of this, like it definitely would make more sense, but this had me in a chokehold. So I'm doing it, but there you go. There you have it. That is all of my favorite books or all the books I read this year. And all my favorite ones are in the Had Me in a Chokehold. And I thought that it was a great year. This was a really good reading year as I'm seeing it. I didn't have a lot of books that like I absolutely hated, except for that one and those ones. Some I didn't remember that much. Some very middle of the road ones. That's definitely, I think, my biggest category. But I had a lot of books that I really liked. As I'm thinking about it, I want to move some of these actually. More because these had to be books that like I absolutely that were great. That feels more accurate. I need to be more careful with the ones that I give 5 stars. I give so many books 5 stars on Goodreads, but yeah, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you didn't, I don't know why you're still watching, but hope you had fun because I did. See ya.